And we are officially live, broadcasting every morning at 7 a.m. only on onedealaway.com. My name is Nev. This is Money Matters, and today is Friday. So happy Friday to you. But that also means that we're going to get a bit deeper into crypto. That's right. If you are a crypto enthusiast, if you are a brand new person coming in curious about what in the world is crypto, how does it work, but you are more looking at it from the investment component and not necessarily technical, like you are not a programmer looking how to build it, but you are looking to how do we make money with this whole thing? How do we preserve money? What are some of the cases that crypto provides, and why should we consider working within crypto world? So if all of that is of interest to you, today's episode is for you. We're going to be talking about the number one country in the world that is actually adopting cryptocurrencies. You may or may never guess what that country is or where it's located, but hey, if you want to take me up on it right now before it's being announced, go ahead and put it in the chat. And talking about chat, I do want to welcome everybody watching this live only on onedealaway.com. And if you're watching this on YouTube, then put it in the comments and welcome as well. Do me a favor, let me know you're watching by smashing that like button. It helps me, it helps other people. So if you want to do a good deed for the day, smash the like button. It's easy way to help others discover how they too can potentially make and preserve money through the world of crypto and by watching Money Matters show. So we're going to be talking about that piece. We're also going to be talking about what's going on with the jobless claims. We're going to take a brief look into that stuff because I think it's important to kind of understand where we are with it. And then we're going to go and talk about what's going on with the governments and how are they actually taking crypto. Are they taking it seriously? Are they not taking it seriously? Like, what is going on with them as far as we know it, and where are some of the developments kind of happening? What are the things that you can prepare for? So it will be definitely a full show, and I do have some news and information about yams. So if you are, and I'm not talking about like the Thanksgiving version of yams, I'm talking about crypto version of yams. So if you have been in it and heard some news, we're actually going to talk about it very briefly in the show. Anyways, full show. Let's do this. And good morning. Happy Friday to you. It's already mid-August, if you can believe it. Time is definitely flying by. And today we're actually going to have a talk about some stuff. First piece, I actually do want to talk about the yam. And if you don't know what the yam is or was, to be completely honest and transparent, yam was basically a brand new DeFi token that was rolled out, 3 days ago, 2 days ago, something like that. It lasted for, I don't know, maybe 24 hours, maybe 36, and now it's dead. So anyways, welcome to crypto. This is crypto, and here is what ended up happening. So, excuse me. So here's what ended up happening. So they rolled it out. They actually put in a nice sort of web page where they say, hey, this puppy is not audited. We're just rolling it out. We don't really know what we're doing. But then people actually ended up jumping into it, head first without doing any research, any knowledge, anything whatsoever. Went in and started to basically farm it. They were looking for a yield. They were farming it. Next thing you know is that the price of yam goes up to like $170 or whatever it was. Like, it was absolutely ridiculous. Just exploded all of a sudden. And then there was a bug in a code when the code was written, when the way that the smart contracts are written, they're written in multiple contracts, and you can actually call some of the external contracts and use some of them in your own projects, and it really gives you an ability to be super, super flexible, right? So that's the kind of cool piece. But the bad piece is that you really have to pay attention to every single line of code, because we're talking money here. It's one thing if my website is buggy and, maybe an image doesn't display correctly. Sure, I might lose a customer or two, right? Somebody might get annoyed. But at the end of the day, it's not as big of a deal because it's just an image that it's not displaying properly, right? But when we're talking people's money, then that line of code is incredibly important. And so it's incredibly important to audit your contracts and audit your code. However, many DeFi projects are simply not doing that stuff. They just go out, they just roll it out, and what ends up happening is that people think that this is so new, so risque, so out there, that I'm entering at the absolute bottom, right? Because everybody looks back to Bitcoin, right, when it was first rolled out, and that thing was like what, like a fraction of a penny or whatever it was. Like, it was nothing, right? But most people didn't get into it. Because you didn't even know about it, or if you're like me, you knew about it. It's just required a bit more technical knowledge than I had at the time to actually get into it, and you had to kind of figure out, or know people who knew to figure out, and I didn't have any of that stuff. So I stood out. But right, people are looking at that and going, man, people got into it at a penny. Now it's trading at like $11,500 or whatever it's trading at. And I want to find another one of those unicorns where you jump in and you do it super quick, super easy, right? Sorry, I realized I forgot to pull up the market stuff. Anyways, so like, you want to get into it at the bottom, right, and then ride it up to the top. And now it's one of those things that is just kind of crazy that, you have people jumping in and chasing yield. So that's what ended up happening with the YAM, right? Of people jumping in. So let's take a look at what they were saying here in this article. The now notorious project YAM.finance was launched without proper code audits, just like many other projects in a space. Many DeFi projects are launched and audited in order to capitalize on reverse psychology, which we just talked about, right? Where you were like, hey, this is so new, it even hasn't had a time to be audited. And then many of those projects, like Yearn Finance, Cream, and Yearn Finance 2, were launched in the same fashion, just like YAM. And most dangers lie in those early days, right? Because things are so untested and you're just going out there and testing it out. And if the project survives its early growing pains, then it starts to accumulate many informal security reviews where people are kind of jumping in, checking it over time, things are firing properly. And next thing you know is sort of, you get this like informal audit. You can actually get a formal audit, and it probably should be done that way, where you have somebody who's experienced to take a look at a code. The other way that it makes sense to do it is to actually go out there and test it on your own, like to create a test net with the play money, right? Monopoly money, as they call it. Test it out, see how it works, see if it's firing, see what ends up happening, and then roll it out, right? So those are the things that should be happening. And, as somebody who is currently working on developing some of the technologies within the markets and stuff, that is definitely one of the things that we are doing on our projects, is that we are developing, we have multiple developers, somebody develops it, somebody else has to validate it, approve it, then it actually goes into test, somebody else has to approve it, then it goes into test, then I get to see it, play around with it as a brand newbie, right? And then it gets approved, and it gets launched, it goes live. When we are talking about the crypto, we do the same process. Somebody develops it, somebody verifies the code, then it goes into the testing, then it ends up being tested around with basically try to break it. Then Nev goes in, tries to play around and break it, because I am known to be able to break stuff really well. And then if all of that goes for the crypto component, we actually have advisors that are going to go in, take a look at the code, test it out as well, run through the whole thing, and then finally, when we go to launch, it actually would be going in and working with auditors, external auditors, to do it. So of course, we're going to do those pieces. But many of these are not doing that stuff, and that's a scary proposition for me personally. Now, if a project survives its early growing pains, it starts to accumulate many informal security reviews. YAM was not fortunate enough to make it through that stage. Examining the code said that the single line of code doomed the YAM farmers. And here is that line of code right here, where YAM was basically supposed to, let me just kind of explain, it was supposed to function similar to Ampleforth, where the price kind of fluctuates with the supply and the demand. As the supply grows, as the demand grows, the supply grows. As the demand dwindles, the supply dwindles as well. However, here is what they failed to do. So this is basically saying total supply is initial supply multiplied by the YAM scaling factor, meaning it will go up by the certain factor that they have put into the code. This should have been followed by div base, basically saying divide by the base supply, or the 10 followed by 17 zeros. Without this divisor, the network was set to create Zimbabwe-style inflation, and there's no way, once it's deployed, there's no way to fix the bug as a result. You actually have to just kill it. So you can't go in and fix a bug. Once the contract is deployed, it's deployed. You can't fix it. It's not like JavaScript where you can go on your website and like tweak something and then roll out something else. Like, you actually have to kill the project, or have had to think of, if this had to be killed or had to be updated in the base of the contracts and stuff, how do we actually roll things out? And I don't think that they thought through it. So they had to kill the whole thing, and approximately $750,000 worth of crypto was permanently locked. So now, people that are in the decentralized finance and that are going out there and chasing the yields and stuff are used to the prices going up and down, right? Constantly changing. And so they're kind of used to this stuff, but it is always a scary proposition because, what is the number one rule of money? Well, don't lose it, right? What is the number two rule of money? Look at number one. Don't lose the money. That is the fastest way for you to lose wealth, is by losing the money. So our number one goal is to always to preserve the capital, then grow it. But most people that are going out there that are so new to playing around with this stuff end up going in and basically just chase the yield, chase the returns without thinking through of how do I preserve my capital? Because if I have $10,000 to invest, right? Let's think about it. Like, let's really think about it. If I have $10,000 to invest, for example, right? And I put in my $10,000 into something, and if I lose all of that stuff, right? Well, now I don't have, not only that I don't have any returns, but I don't have any capital at all anyways. So now what is my option? I actually have to go out there and save up for that $10,000. Now, for some of you, that $10,000 save up is 1 minute process. For some of you, it might be a couple months. For some, it might be a few years. For some, it might be decades before you can get to that capital. So it's very, very important that we think through those processes. So anyways, as you can see it, this is what happened. They rolled it out and then went right back down. So not a great idea, in my personal humble opinion, or as one of my favorite people on the planet on YouTube says, according to me. So according to me, not a good idea. Okay. So here we go. Top 100 currencies by market capitalization, because we should be doing that, but we didn't. So Bitcoin nicely up to 11.7. We did touch 12,000. We did drop below, but we are above it. Ethereum, in less than, like, yesterday was when I looked at it in the morning, it was like 3 something, and then all of a sudden, boom, it shot up to over $400. So that is crypto for you. XRP is up to almost 30 cents. Chainlink is up to over $17. Bitcoin Cash, everything else seems to be in the green, which is very interesting to me. If we are going to take a look at what the change is, hopefully the computer is going to work. Waves is up 37, or almost 38%. Algorand up 33%. Reserve rights up 31%. Tron up the 19.7 Quant, OMG, Icon, Kyber, Loopring, Quantum, Cosmos. So a lot of coins that are up and nicely up over the last 24 hours. Of course, we do have some that have been dumping. Ampliford is one of those, and I'm actually curious to know. Now, they have been actually below a dollar for a while now, and I'm actually curious as to kind of how and why, but I'm also curious if Yam potentially had something to do with. We were like, yeah, I'm going to pause on that. Swipe is down just a little bit under 10%. Sinfin Network, I don't even know what that is, y'all. I've never heard of it before. Let me know if you have, and let me know if you know what it is. Down 5.73. Bancorp down 5.5. Numeraire is down. Divi, Zilliqa, Yearn Finance, we just talked about it, is down. So, but Yearn Finance price is over $5,000, y'all. I'm serious. Look, I'm not even making this up. This is crazy. I don't know how that's possible. Thank you for that. Not interested at the moment. I don't even know how that's possible, but they are. And, I might have to do a little bit more of information and research about it. But yeah, they are a super small market cap, in my personal opinion. I mean, just $150,000 worth of market cap. And, yeah, they are somehow $5,000 per coin. So I don't know if you know. Oh my gosh, Band is being pushed left, right, and sideways. I'm not interested right now to do this stuff. I'm working, as they say. Stop bugging me. I'm working. So, anyways, what is a country that you think might be the biggest adopter? It's important to understand, where is crypto going? Like, how is it developing? What are the use cases? And right now, it was sort of like the preserving, then the speed of networks, then the storage, then the farming. But there's so many different things. I think just about every industry out there could benefit from being part of the cryptocurrency and blockchain. And, people are seeing that all over the place. And for some of the countries around the world, ability to actually pay for things and transfer funds is the key component. One of those countries is Mexico. Mexico's adoption in cryptocurrency is actually going through the roof. And I apologize that this is looking funky, but that's just kind of how it is. And one of those things that it's been happening is the 8 months between September 2019 and May 2020, trading volume of Mexico's leading crypto exchange, Bitso, grew by 342%, according to the exchange. It surpassed 1 million users on its platform, of which 92% of them are Mexican. So, but the story basically goes on to say, like, what's going on, like, what's happening, why is this going on? Well, part of it is that, the case for crypto is ability to transfer the funds fast, easy, cheap, minimal regulation. You send it directly to who needs to happen. I mean, I talked about it here when, I tried to sort of send some funds over to family in Europe. It's much easier for me to do it via crypto and a wallet that is sitting on my phone, right? And then I go in, I press a button, and boom, they get it instantly. Okay, it's not instantly. It might take, in case if we're using Ethereum network, it might take a few minutes, right? If we're using, Bitcoin network, then it might take, I don't know, maybe an hour. But that beats, 2 weeks or 3 weeks sometimes that it takes to send it. Additionally, it costs me a fraction of a percent to send it. Whereas if I have to go through traditional Swift methods, I then have to pay $25 on my end. They have to pay $25 on their end. That's $50 right there, regardless of how much I'm sending. Now, if it's hundreds of millions, then I guess $50 is not a big deal. But most of us don't send hundreds of millions. You send a few $100 or you send a few $1,000. Well, if I'm sending $500 and I have to pay $50 to send it because, whatever, that's a really steep cost for me to pay. And that's exactly what we're seeing here happening as well. that it's struggling with the stuff. And of course, there are all of these components where you can't keep money now in different investment companies and different firms, because the new laws have been rolled out trying to prevent the money laundering, evasion, all these different things. And the tech firms that used to allow for individuals to hold deposits there are basically saying, we can't do this, it's too expensive. So PayPal, for example, where you and I here in the United States, we can hold some of the PayPal money or payments that we receive on the PayPal. You can't do that in Mexico because it's too expensive for PayPal to do it. So now it's just a form of payment. Like, I can just transfer to you, but it has to go directly into your account. Well, many people don't have bank accounts over there, so that's highly problematic. And so they need somewhere else where they can hold the funds. And here's the story where it talks about the Mexico, right? So then you have all of these problems that now they want to do the remittance flows, right? It's part that I kind of share of sending money to the family. Now, I don't do remittance over there. It's more of the every so often when we do deals together or whatever, you have to transfer funds to each other. So that's kind of how it works. But the problem is that when they try to do it with the different transaction forms, it costs a lot of money. And so the Bitso started to partner now with Ripple and XRP, and they're using the stuff. Speaking of the XRP and Ripple, you know how they were going to be working with the banks and stuff to try to transfer the funds, and there's like all these different questions and stuff about XRP. There was a news that was just announced earlier today, or maybe yesterday, that Santander Bank is not going to use Ripple and XRP in their transactions because of the low volume and all of the challenges and issues that they're seeing with an XRP component. So something for you to at least think about. But anyways, they were basically saying that, hey, there's all these remittance and they're charging ridiculous fees. And so now people are starting to jump onto Bitso and jump onto the crypto payments in order to take care of their money. And about in Mexico, about 55 to 65% of people are paid in cash, and so they don't have a bank account. They have cash. They transact in cash. And the problem with that is that now, as this is kind of closing and challenges coming in, they want to actually start accepting more of the crypto stuff. So that's one of the countries that is seeing definitely a massive adoption. There is another country that is also seeing massive adoption, and you're never going to guess which one it is. And it's actually Nigeria, and largest growth is actually inside Africa's largest economy. Nigerians are more likely to say they used or owned crypto, and the high cost of sending money across borders the conventional way has caused many to turn to local cryptocurrency exchanges catering to overseas workers and their families. Remember, remittance is huge business. Nigerians also often use their phones to send money to each other and also to pay in shops. Recently, businesses in the country have been adding crypto plugins to their phone payment options, right? So here you go. That's kind of how things are working. How common is crypto? And you can see Nigeria is definitely number one. Then you have Vietnam, South Africa, Turkey, Peru, Spain, China, US, Germany, and Japan. And as you can see, 10% and up as far as the share of the people who are using it, Spain, Peru, Turkey, South Africa, Vietnam, and Nigeria. And what is one thing we know about these countries as a whole, right? Think about it. 3, 2, 1. They're having money problems, right? They're having currency problems inside their countries. We've talked about the Turkey. Spain has been struggling financially, and COVID is not helping. Vietnam, maybe not so much, but Vietnam has been struggling with money as well. Nigeria, same thing. South Africa, same thing. So it's very interesting. High rates of cryptocurrency ownership and use were also recorded in Vietnam, South Africa, Turkey, Peru, Brazil, Colombia, Argentina, Mexico, and Chile all scored in the double digits when it comes to the adoption of cryptocurrency. Very interesting, right? Spain was the country with one of the highest adoption rates in Europe, together with Ireland and Greece. And what do we know about Ireland and Greece? Well, Greece suffered the greatest austerity measures ever, and austerity, sorry, not austerity, austerity. It was austerity and authority combined together. Maybe that should be a new word. Anyways, together with Ireland. And what do we know about Ireland? Ireland has been, for decades struggling and always being kind of shadowed in and always being sort of like pushed and shoved around financially from the rest of the Europe. So it makes sense to me to understand this stuff. Now, I don't know. What do you think about this whole thing? Are you thinking things are going to grow? Are they going to shrink? Where do you think things are going in? I am saying crypto is here to stay. And here are some of my cases for that. First, we're going to go to China. China is all set to huge expansion of digital currency pilot. Chinese central bank is reportedly set to massively expand the scope of its digital yuan pilots as the nation edges closer to central bank digital currency CBDC issuance. The pilot, so far active in 5 cities since May, will soon cover much of China's most prosperous regions, and they are going to be expanding to encompass all of Beijing, satellite provinces of Beijing and Hebei, Yangtze River Delta, the southern coast, the so-called Pearl River Delta, which is the Guangdong, Hong Kong, Macau, Greater Bay Area. So that's kind of where they're going. They're also going to explore going into some of the less profitable or the less prominent or financially, okay areas in the country. Ministry said that the pilot was still being run by the Public Bank of China and did not specify when the yuan pilot extension program would begin, although it added that policy design was on target for completion by the end of 2020. So by the end of this year, I need you to memorize that because that's going to come important in just a few moments when we start talking about one more country and what's going on there. So remember, end of 2020. Some of the nation's biggest tech firms, including Alibaba and Tencent, are working behind the scenes on CBDC-related pilots and designs alongside the Public People's Bank of China. I don't know why I wanted to call it public. It's people. It's People's Bank of China, not public. People's Bank of China. Okay? So that's kind of what's going on over there. They are definitely going in there. They're testing and expanding, testing and expanding. As you can see, they still believe that they're on track for 2020 rollout. Then we go to Europe. And Europe, Bank of Lithuania, if you don't know, now you do, has already rolled out their coin, their central bank coin, CBDC, right? And Bank of Lithuania is proposed a uniform regulation throughout the European Union in response to the European Commission consultation with the development of digitalization of financial services in Europe. So Europe is considering to create their own, so Euro to go digital. But Bank of Lithuania already has done that, and they're saying, hey, wait a minute. Hello, Europe. Here we are from Lithuania. We want to help you. So they're going to go out there. They're saying basically proposal that, hey, we're having these challenges that every country kind of does its own thing, sees crypto in a different way. And we're proposing that we adopt one way of how we see crypto, of what it is, how we tax it, how we regulate it, how we do all of this stuff. And by the way, since we've already rolled out LB coin on our own, we have a lot of experience. We want to share it. So will you join us? And that's what's happening inside the European Union, right? That's an important thing to consider as well. And LB coin rolled out maybe a month ago, something like that. So it's relatively speaking still new, but it's definitely rolled out. Then we get into the Federal Reserve. Hello, United States. Welcome to Digitation. Federal Reserve Board Governor Lael Brainard announced that the United States Federal Reserve is currently experimenting with blockchain and digital distributed ledger technology, DLT, in pursuit of its central bank digital currency, CBDC, or DigiDollar. We should call it DigiDollar. They didn't. They call it digital dollar. But I'm saying, let's call it DigiDollar. I think I should call it DigiDollar from now on. Fed has been experimenting with distributed ledger technologies for several years, according to Brainard. And they're basically saying that, hey, we're moving in, we're testing it out, we're kind of like, doing all this stuff. Congress has been in and on and off discussion around the creation of central bank digital currency, but has been lagging behind on its development and policy compared with countries like China. Yep, China. I mean, China is already testing it out, so we're moving super slow here in United States. I don't know if that's good. I don't know if that's bad. You tell me how you feel about the whole thing in the chat or the comment section. But I don't know. I am agnostic about it. I am just noticing the whole thing. No concrete public efforts have been made to create a United States CBDC, aka the digital dollar. So DigiDollar, not quite yet, but people are talking about it. And one of the things that you might be curious to know, you might have known, you might not know. Remember when the CARES Act rolled out? One of the first proposals that would put in the Congress of how do we help the individuals and the people was basically coming from the fact that they were proposing that we should use DigiDollar. And of course, that got digital form of payment. They didn't say DigiDollar, they said digital form of payment. And that got like X-nayed right on out. So they are talking about it, and they are definitely looking for a way to say, we just want to roll money out straight out of Fed into people. Well, what does that do for banks? It makes them obsolete, in my humble opinion. I mean, what do you need them for, right? If I can go and store my money, my digital money in a coin or in the Fed bank or whatever, right? And I get my money from the Fed and I borrow from the Fed. And what's the point of having the banks at all? Because, oh, you mean like put money somewhere to save an account? Well, there's crypto wallets. Oh, you mean savings or like, CDs? Well, there's the staking stuff, right? And year farming. And then there's the investment. Oh, you mean I can borrow money? Well, wait a minute. DeFi already does that. So as you can see, there is no purpose of banks whatsoever. And if you don't think that they're going to get disrupted, I think it's time to have a little bit more coffee and wake up. I don't know how else to put it. They are going away. It's a dying industry. So many industries are dying, and unless they switch really fast, they're going away. They're going away. So anyways, we'll see how it all plays out. I could be completely wrong here. So Brainerd admitted that Federal Reserve is not yet ready to issue the DigiDollar. While China is actively set to roll out its own CBDC, United States Bank has not even made the decision to even start the complicated legal process. Given the dollar's important role, it is essential that the Federal Reserve remains on the frontier of research and policy development regarding CBDCs. Well, I agree, but you're not on the forefront, right? There are so many places and countries that are already in advance. By the way, there is one company that is actually helping the Fed. Do you want to take a guess of who it is? It's MIT. That's right. MIT is actually working on the research for the case and all of this stuff, which is very, very interesting to me. You would think that they would also hire some of the folks that are in crypto space, and they might, we just don't know it. But if they are, they're not announcing it. So they're using MIT brainiacs to go in and take a look into the stuff. There continues to be strong demand for U.S. currency, and we remain committed to ensuring the public has access to a range of payment options. Okay. The United States Central Bank announced on August 6th the accelerated development of its digital payment platform, FedNow. We talked about it, a week ago when it was announced? So they are still basically going in, but the FedNow platform, they are basically saying, hey, we're going to get this by 2023. So let's think about it. China will roll it out by the end of the year, right? They're testing it out. So they're going to have 3-year ahead advance fees. Lithuania just rolled it out. There's some other places that are rolling it and have rolled it out and that are moving at a much faster pace. And, we're basically saying that we'll get this by 2023. And, and then we still have to work through the laws and the Congress and everything else. And so, hopefully we are going to select a non-election year, because clearly in an election year, nothing gets voted after July. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Not even in a pandemic. Instant payment platform called FedNow was initiated last year in response to private sector real-time gross settlement initiatives and is now being proposed as it would play a key role in future crisis situations. Under the CARES Act, the Federal Reserve has processed most of the COVID-19 stimulus relief payments to households and businesses using direct deposit, prepaid debit cards, and checks. The process has been slow, and many citizens waited days and even weeks to receive any relief. And they believe that if we were to go digital, it would basically be instantaneous. But right now, FedNow is only being proposed as something for the crisis and stuff. So there's still kind of conversations, and I think they're still trying to figure out how do we do all this stuff. The problem is that there's a lot of not central banks. There are a lot of large banks that are lobbying the government, and lobbying is one of the giant businesses, which I think it's wrong. Like it's just whatever. I have a lot of opinions about government, and none of them are good. Anyways, so they actually have a lot of pull in making sure that they don't go away. And so this DigiDollar might take much longer. But the important piece to understand is that it is being created, it is being talked about, and it is something that is going to spark a lot of debate in the future of how are we going to do this stuff. So there you go. That's kind of where we are with this whole thing. That wraps up the show. One of the pieces, couple of pieces actually, before we wrap up, is one of the things that I have been told is that, I should probably stop saying COVID, so saying these words and stuff, because apparently when this thing goes on YouTube, the algos are actually able to potentially even hear that in the speech. I don't know if that's true or not. Let me know if you know. And what they're doing is basically shadow banning the channels and the videos. So I likely won't be using it to see if it makes any difference. If it doesn't, then we're gonna go back to basically saying it. It doesn't matter for the live broadcast because it's a live broadcast and it's removed from everybody, which is why I'm doing it the way that I'm doing it and not broadcasting on YouTube or Facebook or something like that because of censorship. So I'm doing it on my own platform. But also for the videos, for folks to be able to see it and discover it, it is important for me to consider, how do I do that? So anyways, just something for to let you know. The other piece is I am actually going away for the weekend. Gonna go and do some work away. So we won't be having a show tomorrow or Sunday. We're going to pick up on Monday. So enjoy your weekend. Have an awesome weekend. And I will see you on Monday. Until then, stay forever money blessed. And do remember, you are only one deal away.